Hi everyone, my name is Sydney Wojak, and today I'll be talking about caffeine and its effects on weight loss as well as the mechanism behind it. As we all know, caffeine is found in many beverages. This all includes coffee, tea, energy drinks, sodas, and water. Caffeine can be found naturally, such as in coffee, or man-made through supplements and energy drinks. Caffeine is a central nervous system stimulant. This means that it is going to increase the sympathetic nervous system response or the fight or flight response. This makes one feel awake, alert, and extra focused on a specific task after consumption. Caffeine is also a diuretic as well as an appetite suppressant. This means that some subjects who consume caffeine may report that they have to go to the bathroom a lot or may have a decreased appetite after consumption of caffeine. Caffeine does have an effect on weight loss, mainly through the process of thermogenesis. Many studies have reported that this process can help aid in weight loss. Thermogenesis is when the human body itself is increasing its heat production. This means that through thermogenesis or increased heat production internally, the body can help break down excess fat and adipose tissue, primarily brown adipose tissue, through the biochemical reaction of lipolysis. Through thermogenesis, increasing the biochemical reaction of lipolysis, this means that it's promoting fat breakdown at a high rate. However, some studies have reported that this mechanism may not necessarily be true when it comes to weight loss. One study done in Germany, conducted by the European Journal of Clinical Nutrition, wanted to see if caffeine consumption was correlated with percent weight loss. The subjects that were recruited from the study were 494 men and women from the German Weight Control Registry, as well as random citizens. The subjects included a total of 2,129 subjects, and the study was performed from October of 2009 to April of 2011. The participants had to record how much caffeine they consumed per day, as well as their daily physical activity, through an International Physical Activity Questionnaire. This measured the duration and frequency of each activity performed. The high caffeine users lost more weight and also had an increased duration of physical activity than the low caffeine users. Even though this is what the results reported, also is important to mention that high caffeine consumption alone did not correlate with percent BMI loss. Therefore, those that had a high percent BMI loss not only consumed high amounts of caffeine, but had an increased duration of physical activity. One study done by the Nutrition and Diabetes Journal wanted to see if in two groups of mice, both fed a normal diet and one a high-fat diet, had an effect on weight loss and weight gain. Both groups of diet mice were observed for 35 weeks, and their objective was to see if either beverages of caffeine or water affected weight gain with each specific diet. The mice could consume caffeine and water as desired and ad libitum. It's important that from the results, both groups of mice that consumed caffeine had percent weight loss, though those in the normal diet group had all of their weight gain diminished, or specifically lost more percent BMI than those only on a high-fat diet. Therefore, those in the normal diet group that had caffeine had a higher percent BMI loss than those in the high-fat diet group with caffeine, or high-fat diet with caffeine in general. Caffeine is an appetite suppressant. This means that it reduces the hunger sensation for a brief period of time. There have been many research studies that are specifically interested in this mechanism to see if caffeine can truly affect appetite. One study in particular investigated if caffeine could affect the dietary habits in normal weight as well as obese and overweight individuals. This study was done by the Obesity Journal, and it included a total of 33 volunteers. The subjects had to consume each morning either 200 milliliters of water, coffee 3 milligrams per kilogram of caffeine per body weight, or coffee 6 milligrams per kilogram of caffeine per body weight each morning. Then they had to report in a daily log if their appetite changed. The results reported that those that consumed coffee 6 had a reduced energy intake than those who consumed coffee 3 or water. Though in general it's important to understand that both groups did not have observable effects related to appetite suppression. Hence, the study results were inconclusive, and it may determine that caffeine may not directly affect appetite, but there may be other factors associated with it. Another study done by the Journal of the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics wanted to see if dietary intake of caffeine affected appetite. The study recruited 50 subjects aged 18 to 50, with 42% being males. The subjects on 4 separate occasions had to go to a laboratory, which is where the study was first set. The subjects did not know which beverage they drank, whether it was coffee, water, tea, or juice, or any other type of beverage that they had. After 30 minutes of consuming the unknown beverage, they could consume a breakfast buffet as desired or ad libitum. After they left the laboratory, the subjects had to record their overall findings in dietary habit books and through hourly appetite assessment logs, and they had to write down their thoughts and feelings to determine if their appetite was affected afterwards, and this was done from midnight to about bedtime. The results reported that appetite sensations overall from the subjects were not directly related to caffeine after they left the laboratory. Hence, the study results were known to be pretty inconclusive, and it could also mean that appetite suppression may not directly be associated with caffeine. Another study done in Indonesia by the Journal of Nutrition and Metabolism wanted to determine if coffee intake or consumption was directly correlated with adiposity loss, or percent adiposity loss. The subjects included male and female adults in urban areas, and they had to report their coffee intake each day. The study reported that body fat loss was negatively correlated with caffeine intake. Therefore, body fat or adiposity loss was independent of coffee intake. So what could be taken away from this presentation is that overall, caffeine as a weight loss agent may be inconclusive, because it may or may not affect appetite, and it may or may not directly affect weight loss in individuals. Caffeine, though, can increase calorie burning through thermogenesis, like I mentioned primarily before, and this process is important for increasing digestion of foods into energy. Again, like I mentioned, caffeine may not affect weight loss in an individual because it depends on their physiological and biochemical composition. Therefore, caffeine may or may not affect weight loss in individuals. It's important to know that consumption of caffeine moderation is around 400 milligrams or less. Those that consume more may have insomnia, nausea, elevated blood pressure, or nervousness. It's also important that when buying caffeine supplements, it is not regulated by the FDA. Therefore, organizations such as the National Safety Foundation include third-party certification of supplements which are tested for safety, as well as potency, as well as if these supplements primarily affect others after consumption. I hope you learn more about caffeine as a weight loss mechanism, and thank you so much for listening to my presentation. These are my references, and thank you so much.